blockchain, as the future unfolds, it's also helping us to relate better. What do I mean? If I owned a small business that could perhaps ship some microphones to you, and you need to just kind of like expand your studio or do other things like that. If I'm a small business in Africa, I might find countless hurdles in order to place my items, maybe in Walmart or maybe in Target or maybe in some e-commerce platforms, wherever you prefer to source your growing studio equipment. However, blockchain would help me as a small firm or as an informal sector where I somehow know how to make good quality grade, global grade microphone, but because I don't have this ISO or that SGS approval or that certification, I'm out of the game. I can never enter the Oscars of the supply chain where my goods that I make in my tiny workshop end up on a giant retail shelf. So blockchain is helping us to be more human, where there's no, I think the sustainable development goal focus of 2030, the SDG theme is leave no one behind. So that was unattainable, but blockchain causes the informal sector to shake hands with the informal sector, and for tangible value and transactions to exchange hands without layers and layers of audit protocols that are insurmountable. So that way, blockchain, instead of dehumanizing us, is causing us to be more human, where my neighbor across the world or down the street can trust me because smart contracts and on the ledger that is immutable, I couldn't defraud it, showed the processes that I painstakingly went through in my craft. So here's to blockchain and here's to technology reminding us just how human we really want to be with one another.
I'm loving it. I'm loving it, absolutely. So instead of mechanistic, techno-like, scary vibe, you're sending something out human, which makes us to rethink what we do, why we do what we do, right? And with the help of emerging and actually maturing technologies like blockchain, right? We can transform. We can transform businesses. We can transform countries if we want to, right?
There we go. I love it when you say, transform countries, because I'm going to mention one company that is very familiar. It's a German firm called BMW. Before COVID, their supply chain was spread across 60 countries, and it comprised of more than 12,000 suppliers. Now the lockdowns kicked in, and now the sourcing of material, the sourcing of parts, and playing these musical chairs of assembling a vehicle across 60 countries, it became a nightmare. However, had BMW and other manufacturers and other trade entities, had they been on blockchain, had they evolved their supply chains onto blockchain, in a perfect world, then trade would have continued even during lockdowns, because maybe you're wondering, Shadrack, how are the goods going to pass? Blockchain has got superior standards when it comes to peeling away and revealing the layers to the government in terms of tax revenue to be collected, in terms of protocols that were adhered to. So if the goods are coming through the border, maybe those goods are an engine, and we in this country, we made the body panel, then that engine can come through because it will show that it was manufactured in a perfect vacuum, free of COVID. But that's why goods had to grind to a halt, including manufacturing processes, because you couldn't get raw material anywhere, whether you're BMW or any company. So the future we want is where supply chains can be pandemic proofed, where human beings can go on their daily lives, whether they are living in the mountains during a lockdown or they're in the middle of a hustle and a bustle of the city. Trade should not stop. Relating should not stop. Communication should not stop. And definitely receiving any item, small or big, should not stop. And thanks to blockchain taking care of the burden of trust.